If you're serious about growing your home service business, listen up. Everything we do at Build It to Sell It is built around one mission, helping contractors scale real companies that are actually worth selling one day. Through our masterminds, shop tours, winner's circles, sales training, and the Build It to Sell It conference, we bring owners together to share what's actually working in the field right now. If you want better systems, stronger leadership, and a business that gives you real options one day, click the link in the show notes and get plugged in. Everybody, welcome to the show today. Build It to Sell It, the #1 home service show to show you how to build and sell your company to a private equity firm. I got a special guest today for you, Claudio Vilas, where he actually specializes in that. He owns the Roofing Biz Broker. So, Claudio, welcome to the
Welcome to the Build It to Sell It podcast with Lance Bachmann, the #1 home service and M&A podcast, sharing home service secrets to help you exit.
What's going on, Claudio? Why don't you tell everybody who you are real fast? And I appreciate you being on the podcast, my friend.
Absolutely. I love it. I appreciate you taking the time to actually interview me. I'm a big fan of yours and what you're doing. So I couldn't be anywhere else in the world today that would make me more happy. So
tell people what you do, my friend.
Well, I actually sell businesses to private equity. I've been doing this for many years. And about 3 years ago, I decided to focus only in the roofing industry. So I became the Roofing Biz Broker. I used to do everything. I used to sell everything to anybody. And I realized after a few years that that wasn't helping me create the networks that would make me more efficient in my job. And I decided in 2023, at the end of 23, to become the Roofing Biz Broker, and here I am.
It's funny you say that because people don't realize there's riches and niches, and when you specialize in things, it makes it a lot easier to get things done, right?
Absolutely.
And I'll give you an example. Today, one of the guys I was having a meeting with asked me why I invest in med spas, and he has two of them. They do about $5 million total. Really nice guy. And I was like, nah, just not my thing. But private equity loves med spas right now, as you know. It's a big, hot space, like huge, hot space. I was like, it's just not for me. I was like, I'd have to relearn all new systems, processes, even though there's a lot of similarities in every business. I'm like, I'm really good with home services right now. I'm going to stick with that. Got my coaching group, the Built to Sell coaching group, where we help people build their companies to sell. But people don't realize, can you talk about that? Why you made that step to say, hey, listen, I'm going to focus on roofing. Because when you did this 3-4 years ago, roofing wasn't a hot spot, right? Like it is today. Like it was not. Like you went almost into probably the one vertical where PE was just starting, because really Vertex and Josh Sparks are the first two really to jump into it heavily. So that was only 3 years ago. So can you tell me what made
that
you
is
pick
true? Well, I'll tell you why I picked a vertical first, and then why it was roofing. So ever since I started doing brokerage, I thought that it made no sense to just sell anything and everything, because you really can't get a hold of a good, strong network. And when I'm talking about network, I'm not only talking about the network of the buyers, which by now I know all of them, and I got very good relationships with many of them, but also on the referral sources. Every broker out there will, look for the accountant or the attorney that's going to refer some business. My referral network is huge because I know a lot of people that are around the industry, including, Joseph Hughes. He was with you last week. So I would have never met somebody like Joseph if it wasn't because I was actually focusing on this. But not only him, there's so many other people that I know. And I go to all the industry meetings, the IRE, the Winter Storm, and so forth. I walk the floors. I get to know a lot of people.
Did you do the roofing conference? Did you do the roofing conference? Did you do it this year? The Build to Sell conference?
Of course.
What did you think of it?
I love it. It was the best one I've been to in 2025. It was the one that gave me the most leads. So thank you so much.
I want to give you the most leads. Yeah, that's great. I mean, listen, I appreciate that. Listen, we're just trying to do something different, right? Like, I'm not a roofer by trade. I'm not an HVAC person by trade. I'm just just Lance Bachmann, just trying to help a bunch of contractors grow their business and sell to private equity. I've done it 6 times now. I'm going to do it probably 2-3 more this year. I've helped in the acquisitions of at least probably now 50 to 60 different companies, help guide them. So, and I don't think I'm an expert. I just think I probably have more knowledge than most people because I have real life experience of doing it every day. I'm not an M&A banker. I'm not a broker like you. I've done it. I mean, think about this. You've been selling business now for how long? 10 years?
Yep. Ever since I turned 50. I'm 60 now. So yeah.
How many guys have you met that sold 6 different businesses in 4 different verticals?
No, very, very few. Very few. Very few.
And that's the thing, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, when you have the mindset of an entrepreneur, I mean, that's what I like about you, right? I love to listen to you and to see what you do, because you are an entrepreneur by, in your heart. So an entrepreneur takes risks, builds, and then sells. So build it to sell it.
I mean, it's funny because people think, and people say this to me, my company's worth X. I'm sure you hear this dumb shit all the time. Like, I'm just a straight up person, right? Got a guy doing 2-3 million. He'll tell you his business worth $10 million. Guy's delusional, smoking a joint. I don't know if he drinks all day. I don't know if he bumped his fucking head, right? Like, I'm just shooting you straight. I know you ain't gonna talk like this, but I'm not selling anyone's business, so I can, right? Because people ask me to partner every day, and I'm like, oh my God, like, do you hear what even comes out of your mouth? Can you explain to people selling to a private equity firm is probably going to be the hardest thing you ever do in your lifetime, because you got to pass what I call the sniff test, that initial meeting. Can I trust you or not? What's your culture like? What's your business like? It's not just about the P&L. There's so many things that go into that scorecard. Can you talk about that? Because as you know, my buddy Josh over at Affinity, he's looked at, I think, 477 or 577 businesses in 2025. Guess how many he bought?
0.
There you go. So you know. So you knew the number,
Well,
right? But most people,
no, I didn't know the number, but I guessed it. And I'll tell you why I guessed it. Because I was at the IRE this year, and I met with at least 15 private equity people at the conference, and I asked them 2 questions. I said, "How many companies did you interview last year, and how many did you buy?" And most of them said, I interviewed about 100 before I bought one. 2 of them said, I interviewed more than 400 and I bought 0. So that tells you what the hit rate is. It's very, very low. So people think that because, every time I call an owner, I said, okay, let's talk about selling your business. I said, I get approached by private equity all the time. I said, well, that means nothing, because you have 1 in 100% chance to actually sell your business if you're talking to one private equity. So
this is what people don't realize is they don't get approached by private equity. It's not the truth. They're getting approached by a emailer and a cold caller that's paid as a subcontractor to go out and drum up the business. So listen, I know the model. Like, for all of them, like, I know it inside and out because I'm friends with these guys, right? And so they hire people that are good salesmen, good cold callers, and they make them independent contractors 9 times out of 10. Sometimes they become employees if they're very good. And they give them what's called a referral fee. For everyone that actually signs with them, they get a percentage. And these guys do find the diamonds in the rough. Like, that's how it gets found. And what they do is that happens. And they send an email, they call the email call. Then they set you up with, I'm going to use Apex as an example. My buddy Jacob over there, right? And he might send you up with Jacob. And then Jacob meets with you, and Jacob blows you out of the water 9 out of 10 times immediately inside of, what would you say, half hour to an hour? But they'll give you 2-3 hours of your time. But they already know, hey, listen, this is not for us. Then the 1 out of 200-300 that is for them, then you got to pass what I call the financials test, the stiff test. Is the leadership team there? Can I survive without you? All those things that these guys don't realize make it very hard for someone to sell their company. Can you talk about like that? Because I don't think people look at that.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the biggest misunderstandings that the business owners have. They think that, again, it's just a phone call. My job is to just call somebody and say, hey, put you in touch with him. And that's far from the truth. What we need to do is we need to actually build your company or actually present your company in the way that a buyer will want to buy it. And there's such a big difference between the way an owner sees the company than a buyer sees the company. For example, an owner probably has 20 trucks and they says, oh, well, I got a lot of trucks. This is a lot of value. This is actually value. And the buyer is looking at the trucks and thinking, wait a minute, I'm going to have to maintain this. I'm going to have to buy new ones. I'm going to have the drivers. So trucks are not really, even though they're called assets, they're really liabilities because they need to spend all this money to maintain them. Two companies that have the same EBITDA, but one of them has 20 trucks and the other one has 10 trucks, the one that's more valuable is the one that has 10 trucks because it has less capex, it has less maintenance problems. So, and that's the way owners think, right? Owners think that because you have all these trucks and all that, the company is more valuable. No, the company is more valuable because it makes more money. And the more efficient the company is, the more valuable it is. But that's not how owners typically think. Owners think that because they are the most important person in the company is also very valuable. And the truth is that the less importance that you have, the more valuable the company is, because what the buyer is buying is a company that will make money when you leave. So if you're the one that's making money for the company and you leave, guess what? The buyer gets nothing. So buyers are looking for money-making machines. That's what it is, okay? So how much money comes in the top and how much money stays after all the expenses are done. That's the other conversation that I have a lot of times with owners. They tell me, and I had one today. He called me and says, I'm making $8 million. I'm selling $8 million a year. How much is my company? I'm like, I have no idea. How can I know? Sales mean nothing.
If he's selling 8 million and you're doing 9 million, your company ain't worth jack shit. You're the best salesperson in the world.
Exactly.
You're the greatest salesman in the world. You made yourself a one-man sales organization. Round of applause, Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm not as nice as you about it anymore. Like, and I know why you're nice and you're smiling because you gotta get these guys to sign what you to sign. For me, I'm like, man, I'm not as nice because the hard thing about life is this: you either do what the bank wants to get the loan, right?
Mm-hmm.
You either do what the bank wants to get them to buy your business, or you do what you want to do, and you'll be the brokest, richest man in the room. Meaning, no one's ever buying your business, but you're going to be rich in your little circle. Like, explain to everybody what CapEx real fast is, because a lot of people, you say CapEx, and it's important, and a lot of people don't know what CapEx is.
CapEx, well, it's very simple. Actually, in a business, you have two types of expenses. One of them is the OPEX, and the other one is the CapEx. OPEX is operating expenses. It's what you see in a P&L. And that's very easy. It's easy to see it. But the CapEx is what you spend in capital equipment, capital expense. And that's a little bit more difficult because you don't know when you're going to be recycling your trucks or your machinery or whatever you need to run the business, but it's not on a day-by-day expense. The interesting thing about CapEx is that capital depreciates. And when you do an evaluation on a business, you're actually doing on EBITDA, which actually takes away the depreciation of the capital. So you're looking at the company, you're doing a multiple of EBITDA, but a smart buyer is going to say, okay, well, this is the EBITDA, but how much capital expense will I have to do once I buy it to maintain these numbers? So capital expenses are very seldom understood. And like I said before, people think that assets actually increase the valuation, and assets don't necessarily increase the valuation.
No, especially if you got 10 trucks that are paid off and they're using them and they're all 6 years old. That's not an asset. That's a liability. Those things are going to break down and they got to replace them. And they know that.
Exactly.
That's why in all my companies, we have a deal with Enterprise, if you're familiar with Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
So we use their leasing program. And most people don't know it. And it's actually one of the best things you can do because then it's just a fixed cost into your business, and you know the run rates every 5 years, 4 years, your car just gets replaced, but your payment's almost the same. So it's just part of your operating costs. Like it's just, I know it's not like people are like, oh my God, you don't pay your trucks in cash. And I'm like, no, like I did when I first started out in home services. I was an idiot. Not use the word idiot, but you want to preserve your cash to scale. You only put it out for a liability because the truck is a liability, even though it's an asset. 'Cause you need somebody in, you need their ass in that asset driving around to make the money. So it's a double-edged sword, right? But you really got to be a little bit more smarter with it than you think. Here's a question.
Funny that you mentioned Enterprise, because I'll tell you a story about when I was a lot younger. I used to work with Johnson & Johnson, and they brought me here to Miami, actually.
I
as
saw
an
that.
international.
You ran a $1.5 billion division for them. I saw that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, but that was way back when I was very young, and I came here, and I did a program that's called the IDP, International Development Program, and they basically brought me here for 2 years, and I was in a rental house, and we used Enterprise, and I used to travel like crazy, going to all Latin America, and because my car wasn't my car, and it wasn't Johnson and Johnson's car, it was Enterprise. Every time I got on a plane, I came back home and I had a new car, and I had a brand new car every 2 weeks, which I loved. And the company saved a lot of money that way too, because to your point, it was a lease.
Of course. I'm an enterprise believer. I believe that's the model. I think you have either way to skin a cat. There's multiple ways. That's the way we do it here. We can project it. We can forecast it out. We know what the numbers are going to be. We know what the maintenance is going to be. We understand the process very well. Here's a question for you, right? You went into roofing, and over the last 4 years, 3 years, definitely, you see a lot of change in roofing, right?
Yes.
Before, people really weren't buying roofing companies. Most roofing companies still today, by far, are seller owner financed, meaning the seller will hold the note, they'll hold some of the note, they'll merge in with another company. People are just running out of some roofing companies still. I think you'd agree to that, right? Because private equity doesn't buy them, right? But PE came in now. SBA starting to get more into it, letting you take an SBA loan. You can talk about that better than I can, 'cause I've never done one. So I hope maybe you could talk about that a little bit, about SBA, because I know a few people have bought using SBAs. And maybe you could talk about the search fund. I'm not a big fan of search funds at all. I don't believe in them. I don't think people should use them, but they are a way to exit your business, to sell to a search fund. It's just a matter of, do you get screwed over or not? And the big private equity firms, they tell you all the time, never want to screw you over because they don't want to ruin their reputation. They just don't. Like, they have too much to lose. Search funds are ran by John in Florida that doesn't give a shit, and you can't find him anywhere on the internet. So he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, well, there's many buyers out there. Many of them, they call themselves private equity. Like you said before, when you get that email from quote unquote private equity, or from somebody that represents a multi-billion-dollar private equity, it's probably a guy in I don't know, in Taiwan somewhere, or Mexico, sending you emails. That's not necessarily the private equity. And search funds are. I'm also not a very big fan of search funds, because they basically will try to buy the business first, make an offer, and then try to find the money for it. And that's not the way to do it.
Explain that, how search funds work, because people don't understand that. I sold one of my companies to a search fund, and I got torched. And bad deal, bad situation. But it was the best thing I ever did, because now I'm so educated. But can you say that one more time? They do what? Well, they find a business, they make an offer, and then what do they do?
Well, what they do is they make an offer, and they make it contingent on getting the finances. And then they turn around and they will shop your business around to as many people as they can, to see who's going to fund that purchase. So you're sitting there waiting for them to actually get the right funding for the deal, and you might be spending months waiting for that. You don't know this because they're not telling you that. What they do is they tell you that they need more information on your business. So they lock you up on an LOI, and they tell you, okay, well, now we're going to do the quality of earnings or due diligence, and they start sending you hundreds and hundreds of questions. Now, that's typical. I mean, it happens everywhere. Private equity does the same thing. But what these guys do is they continue to ask questions, while in the background they're trying to find how to fund the deal that they put together. So it's not. I don't like the business model. I like straight up private equity, straight up a buyer that says, "Hey, I'm a buyer. I'm going to use SBA, to your point, to buy your business." I like.
How does the SBA work now in the roofing space? I've really never seen one done with SBA yet. I haven't been part of one, so I'm just curious, if you don't mind. You seem to know it, so do you mind telling us?
Basically, SBA, what it does, it funds a buyer that wants to buy your business. So you are, as a seller, you can get a lot more cash up front. The buyer will have a loan with the SBA. SBA is not. It's actually the banks that give you the loans. The SBA backs those.
So your local bank gives you the loan. I understand that, and then the SBA banks it, will feed the paper, guarantee the paper. But are banks lending to Lance Bachmann to buy a roofing company? Maybe to me, but I'm a bad example. I'm
They of course would lend to you, but they you know, in the case of normal people, let's say regular people, they will. They will lend them, yes, but they will ask you for background information. They want to know that you're in the trades already. They want to know that you will be able to manage that business and to make it work, right? Because they're lending you money. So you want to make sure that you have a good background, that you have expertise in the business. They're not. If you are a restaurateur and you want to buy a roofing company, you're not going to get an SBA. It's because you want to show that you actually have experience in the business. They're going to give you a loan for about 10 years, and they're going to put a lot of restrictions to it to make sure that they don't lose money. Nobody likes to lose money. And they're actually going to do an analysis of whether the business can actually pay the loan or not. It's the debt service analysis. So they want to make sure that if your business makes $1 million a year and your loan is, I don't know, $500,000, well, then it's a little bit too much. You want to have a lower debt service ratio, so the people will buy you, or will give you the loan.
And then they get you with the old, hold on, with the PG. They get you every time. The personal guarantee SBA, correct?
Of course, yes.
I gotta get a know on that.
Personal guarantee.
Gotcha. They get you every time. But like that is what it is. My friend Andrea, she's one of my best friends. We grew up in high school together. She does it. And she's like, Lance, I mean, I don't think I'm even allowed to do SBA anymore. I think once you hit a certain net worth, you can't. I'm not sure how it works. She's trying to explain it to me. But she said everyone signs the PG no matter who you are for an SBA loan. She's like, it does not matter.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why, Lance, I really admire entrepreneurs and business owners, because he's actually putting, his personal guarantee in it. And when you're starting a business, you don't have much else, right? You have your personal guarantees, your personal name, and that's what you're putting in the business. So if you don't make it, you're in deep trouble, because you're going to owe that money and you're going to have to pay it, no matter what. So people who have the guts to actually get on that personal guarantee and put everything that they have on a business, I mean, I think they're very, very brave. So, and that's why when they come out on the other side and they actually sell the business and they were successful, that's why I like to help them, right? Because I know that you did a lot of effort to get to where you are. No business owner ever had, perfectly sleep nice nights. They had perfect days. They went on vacation all the time. They only went, worked from 9 to 5. That's not a business owner's life until you actually make it. Once you make it, it's a different story. But all the
it doesn't matter. Like I say to people across all the time, and how do I say this nicely? I'm still a firefighter. All I deal with is problems. People get to watch the podcast and they get to see this side of Lance Bachmann. But as soon as I walk out of this room, now, yes, there's strategy meetings and stuff like that. But the only thing that rolls uphill to Lance Bachmann is only one thing: problems. And I'm a fucking firefighter every day. And you got to be able to critical think, and you got to be able to calm people down and maneuver this and maneuver this. And the bigger the organization, the more problems, the more things you need to do. And that's the owner of a business, like an entrepreneur, even a business owner. And people don't realize, and this is why I always say you better marry the right person if you're going to be an entrepreneur, because I can't just come home and put my phone down and stop working. Like, it just doesn't. I'm not wired that way, number one. Number two, it wouldn't bring me joy to do that. Number three, it's not realistic. If I got a problem out in my California branch and they need to talk to me, I got to be able to answer the phone. Like, it's just that simple. And, these people don't realize that. And that's why I love every time we sell a company, I see my partners get that check, whether it be 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, whatever that number is they get. It's the most rewarding piece of my day. Because I'm like, I know what you sacrificed, what you suffered, the hours, the stress, the sleepless nights. And everybody says, oh, it must be nice. It must be nice. I'm like, oh, yeah, come with me for a week and see what I do. And if you're still standing and you're still sane, then you're great. You're meant for this. but most people don't make it past 2 days. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. I want to give a quick shout out to our main sponsor, Service Titan, our technology of choice for helping us scale and grow our business and making sure all of our viewers have the technology to scale their business so when they want to sell it, they're able to.
Build It to Sell It would like to thank Same Day AI for their sponsorship of our show. One of the premier AI platforms in home services, it's great partners like Same Day that make this episode possible.
Most people wouldn't survive being a business owner. And whether, to your point, whether you're big or small, the buck stops with you always, always. And, you know, what I like about selling businesses is to actually listen to the stories of the people who built those businesses. When you talk to somebody that was, you know, and one of my clients, for example, he started out single mother. He had no high school. His girlfriend got pregnant when he was a kid. And he worked and worked and worked until he built a company that he sold several years later with me for multi-million dollars. So those kind of people that really have the grit to get to that point are the people that I really like to help when they exit. Because the problem is they know how to manage their business, but they don't know how to sell it. And unfortunately, many people, because they've been very successful all their lives, they think that selling the business is just another thing that they do, and it's not. It's completely different from actually managing the business. And that's how they get screwed sometimes, right?
It's funny you say that, and I've sold 6 companies. I sold 5 on my own without a broker.
Mm-hmm.
I used Woodward Park, if you know who they are,
Yeah.
Nick DeCroce, and they do a lot of M&A. They're best friends with Eric Van Dam and them guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I used him, and it was the best experience. And I was like, I'll never not use a broker again. I didn't believe in brokers, truthfully. Like, I was always like, it's bullshit. I'm gonna tell you. No, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like this is where I apologize, right? Because I'd have met someone like you, and I'd be like, man, screw you. Why do I need Carlos, right? Well, this is why you need Carlos. This is why you do, right? And this is where, like, I'll be very transparent. It was my ego, number one, right? And ego is the worst thing you could have. Number two, the emotion comes out of it. Like, even though I've sold 6 companies, every time we went through rocky shit, my stress level was through the roof. My emotions got the better of me. I mean, full transparency, I was up in New York 2 weeks before, or 10 days, it might have been even 8 days before we're supposed to close on Munns, and I sold Munns for 36 million, the roofing company, and I literally killed the deal. I'll show you the email. I killed the deal. I said, I'm not selling. Like, and no one, you know, this kills a $36 million deal the week before closing. And I did, because I was like, I don't need the money. I'm like, I don't need the stress. It got so crazy, right? Like, just the wood, and people don't understand, like, you're under so much pressure, right, to close it. And you are going to have a different level of calm than the owner themselves. And really, who talked me off the ledge was like, they came back to the table and they calmed down, because they push, you know, that they push, right? They calm down. But Van Dam also got involved and calmed everything down, because, you know, with me, and, you know, and the thing is, this is owners, I don't think, should be selling their own businesses. I think a broker is a good way to put all your quality of earnings together. I think it's a good way of them packaging up your business, telling the story. I don't think you want to have someone having access. And people are like, well, Lance, you've done it 6 times. You're right. I have done it 6 times. But the access they need from you constantly is barren. Where if you have a middle person like you, Carlos, you're going to bear the weight of a lot of those ask and requests and say, hey, that's already in the data room. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's already here, there. It's already been done here. Can you talk about that? Because that's my biggest learning experience, where I checked my own ego, where I'll always use a broker from here on out, or an M&A investor. I don't like the word broker, honestly. I like the word investment bankers, because you guys understand money, how it works. I mean, merger and acquisition experts. Brokers sound like, to me, like, honestly, like the fucking dudes giving you a mortgage, and it's just not that. There's just so much more education that goes into it. I'm not trying to disrespect the name of your business, because I love you.
No.
I'm just talking to you, like, straight up.
But you're right, because I put the business broker at the beginning, and I'm actually thinking of changing it, because it is M&A, and it's the hardest M&A. Okay, so a broker, a typical business broker sells small companies to small buyers. What we're working with here is small, medium companies to large buyers. So there's a big discrepancy between the
give those size
buyer and the
numbers so
seller.
people know. Claudio, give those
Well,
numbers so people
yeah,
know.
typically we're working with companies that are worth between $5 and $30 million. That's the
That are
average that
worth.
I'm working with.
So the minimal EBITDA you're selling is $1 million.
A million,
Okay.
yeah. Because below that, private equity doesn't look at you. So you want to have about $1 million and up. But here's the problem: the seller doesn't have neither the resources nor the knowledge nor the expertise that the buyer has. Because the buyer, what do? They buy business. They do everything single day. Buy businesses for a living. The seller sells roofs for a living. He doesn't sell his business for a living, and he's going to sell it once, maybe twice, but he's only going to sell it once. So the buyer has an army of people. They have accountants, they have attorneys, they have advisors, they have employees, analysts, whatever. And the seller is kind of like naked and afraid in front of them. And when I say naked and afraid, sometimes I mean it that way, right? Because these guys have they have an army of people to work with them. So and they have the knowledge. So what I see myself is a balance between the seller's knowledge and the buyer's knowledge, because I've been on the buyer side, I've been there in corporations, and I also have been doing many of these deals. So what I do is, number one, educate the seller. So when my whole process is about educating. So we're on step one of that process. I am talking to you about steps 2, steps 3. So we're starting to put the business on the market. I'm going to tell you what quality of earnings mean. I'm going to tell you what the due diligence is going to look like. I'm going to tell you what questions the buyers are going to ask. And sometimes more important, what questions should you ask from the buyer, right? Because everybody talks about the multiple or the value of the business. They forget that to actually have a strong deal, you need three legs to that stool. You need the price, of course, but also the terms and conditions, which can actually undo the price that they gave you if you don't read the fine print, and the quality of the buyer. The quality of the buyer is extremely important, because when you sell a business to private equity, you're going to roll back some money. It's going to be 10, 20, 30, 40%. And that money you're reinvesting in the business, if it's going to go to a bad buyer, it's going to disappear. You're going to lose it. Now, if you go to a good buyer, they're going to make it grow, sometimes even more than your first pay. So your second bite at the apple, the second pay, depends on the people who buy you. So if you're just talking to that guy that called you, guess what? The chances of that guy that called you actually being a good buyer are very slim. So one of my jobs is not only to work with you as a seller, but finding the right buyer for you. Oh, the other thing is the buyers. There are many buyers and many good buyers, but for the seller, there's only one buyer that's going to be the right match for that seller. So I'm kind of like a matchmaker in that sense, right? Making sure that
let's talk about that, because I don't think there's that many good buyers in the roofing space. Maybe you do, but I mean, I'm not you by any means, Claudio, but I think the majority of people I've met, and listen, I'm going to say there's probably 100 PE firms right now on platforms trying in the roofing space. You've read there's probably about 100. I would say of that 100, I would sit at a table with 20 of them.
Yeah.
If I'm rolling my money.
And I hope are the same ones that I would choose. That means we're aligned on that. I don't know which ones would you choose.
So you agree? So you agree that's about the same number you'd come up with?
Yes. No, I agree. I agree. There's a lot of, and that's the other thing, right? You got to make sure that if somebody calls you and says, "Hey, you don't need a broker, just deal directly with me," guess what? They don't want a broker in the middle, because they actually want to have you as a unique offer. They are the only offer. When I take a business, I offer it to the top buyers, and I make sure that we negotiate with them, right? So it's very different when you have many options, and then you can negotiate. If you have, if you're at a party and you're the prettiest girl in the party, you're going to have a lot of guys looking at you. A
lot of options. I was never the most handsome guy at the party, so I didn't have a lot of options. I was always the most least interesting man. I tell my wife, the least interesting man. Here's a question for you, all joking aside. People always ask me, Lance, what's my business worth? What's the evaluation? What's the multiplier? What's the multiplier? And the canned answer all the private equity firms say so much goes into it, which that's really bullshit. It comes down to one thing, EBITDA. The rest is if they're just going to buy you or not, right? Like the rest is if you don't have it, just not buying you, right? But EBITDA is what you get paid off of the multiplier. Here's a question for you. What's the multiplier? Are roofing multipliers going up in your opinion, or are they going down right now today?
First, right now, right now I see them stabilizing and going a little bit down. From the deals that I have, I had higher multipliers.
Same exact thing. They're going down here. So like, but like that's like people are like, oh, they're going up. I'm like, whose fucking businesses are you guys buying? Every deal I got coming across my table is going down. Like every deal, everyone I'm sending to my friends, and these guys talk to me like these guys are my friends. Like we travel together, we eat together. Like they don't just buy my companies. Like we're friends. Now we need it used to be a blended of 8 we'd be willing to pay total for our platform. Now we're at 6.2. This is why. And explain to me why. We're not going to explain to the average person selling companies that, but my thing is so you see the multiplier going down. So all these guys out there just think their businesses are worth what they were 2-3 years ago. They're dead wrong, correct?
With multiplier. I agree. 100%.
All right. So at least we're on that. The next question for you. Your threshold's $1 million in EBITDA, which I know there are PE firms that will go to $1 million. Mine's normally about $2 million. I always say, listen, once we get to 2, it's just, can you tell me where the multiplier changes in your opinion? And I'll tell you kind of like where I've seen it change. I'm just curious if we're on the same page.
Okay. Well, I see $1 million and $2 million are pretty much the same in multiplier. You got to get to $10 million to actually have a much bigger difference in multiplier. The way
What about 5? What about $5 million?
Well, that would be a step up, but it wouldn't be what you get after 10, right?
Yeah. Well, 10. So this is what, and just you correct me wrong. I feel like you're between 1 and 2 million right now today. Well, I think 1 million you're probably going to get between, and you correct me if I'm wrong, maybe 3 to 6 multiplier, 3 to 5 multiplier. Is that correct? If you're 1 million?
Up 1 million, 3 to 5. Yeah, 6. It's stretching it. You got to have a really good company at $1 million.
At 2 though, 2.5, you probably could get a 6.5 or 7 for the right business. Maybe a stretch, but you probably get 6 though.
You could. But one thing that I see happening, Lance, is that many private equities that I've worked with, they used to look at 2 million as the bottom. Now they're raising it to 2 million. So
100%. I've never sold one under 2 million for that reason because I've never been able to find a buyer. That was legit.
Yeah.
You have access to more people. Your Rolodex is bigger than mine. I mean, I know about 100. I would say 20 are legit that I would sit down and roll. And it's hard for a guy like me when I'm the guy selling my company and I know I'm rolling up. I'm rolling up 4 million, 5 million, 3 million of my money. I want to have the right partner with me. Makes sense? Because I want to see the whole thing win. I'm not rolling up 300 grand thinking it's the end of the world. So the multipliers there you guys have. You have the multipliers. You just gave them to you. That's really expectations for you. So you believe it's like 1 and 2 are ballpark around the same. 5s it gets you a little bit more. 10's the next number, and then probably after 10 it's going to be 20.
Yeah, it's going to be higher than that. Yeah, 20.
And let's be realistic. Once you're at 20 million EBITDA, they're not hiring me or you. They're hiring Eric Van Dam over there, and we're out of the picture. So I'm assuming the majority of that you're selling in EBITDA is somewhere between 2 and 7-8 million, somewhere in there.
In EBITDA, yes. In EBITDA, yes.
Yeah. That's what I figured.
That's my sweet spot.
Yeah,
I figured it's the best spot to be at.
I say that one more time.
It's the best spot to be at.
I said everyone. They're like, Lance, why wouldn't you just build it to 100 million, 20 million? Because your buyer pool is so limited. Then your buyer pool becomes very limited, like very limited. When you have 20 million in EBITDA, you probably have, what would you say, 10 to 20 buyers in the whole entire country?
Yeah, no, exactly. When you're out there, you get very few of them. Yes, and then you have less.
Correct. So, but 2 to 7, 2 to 5, man, you got
tons of
buyers that are begging to add it. Either make that a platform deal if you're willing to say, I'll never be a platform, but if you're willing to be a platform, I can't say never be a platform. You never know, but right now we're not. All our stuffs are add-ons after you already have 1 or 2 businesses.
Exactly.
But like that's where I think the sweet pot is too. That's too funny. Here's a question for you. Talk about ad backs, right?
Okay.
A lot of people will say things aren't ad backs, right? And like everything's an ad back if the private equity firm isn't going to keep it. Would you agree to that statement
Oh, yeah.
overall?
Yes.
Right?
Basically, the philosophy behind the ad back is that you're having some kind of expense that the buyer is not going to have. So you add it back. That's it.
So
Now,
if you're
sometimes
part of
ad
a
backs
coaching
could
group,
be.
if you're part of a coaching group, that's an ad back that they're not going to have,
Mhm.
correct?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I was
That's
curious because that's just a fact I know. If you have your wife's car going through the business, that's an ad back.
exactly.
If you're
Exactly.
going
Now,
to Disney with them.
sorry, I was going to say you got to be careful with ad backs because ad backs can also be negative. Okay, so you got to be careful.
Oh yeah.
So if you're working for the business,
Explain that.
okay, so if you're working as a manager for the business or you're a sales rep for the business and you're not collecting your commissions and you need to be replaced by a sales rep that's going to get a commission, you got to add back, but that's going to be a negative. It's going to be subtracting from EBITDA and not adding. So it's both ways.
It's kind of
Basically,
it's kind of if you're the production manager and they got to pay a production manager $100,000 because you no longer be the production manager. They're going to take $100,000 off your EBITDA. Say your EBITDA is at 3 million, you're going to 2.9. They explain to you why it's adjusted EBITDA. It's not a retrade. They're just explaining to you, hey, listen, we got to go higher for this position, and you never took the money out that way.
I had a deal last year that the sellers were very upset when the buyer said, "Okay, well, we need. Are you charging? Are you getting any salaries on the business?" And both of them said, "No, we're not." And the buyer says, "Well, we need managers for the business, and you're the managers for the business, so we're going to deduct this from your EBITDA, and that's their calculation, and we're going to put the multiplier on that." And they didn't like it, but it's true because the buyer needs to hire these people. I mean. If you think
that's
about
common sense. That's common sense.
If you think about it, it's common sense. Exactly.
Here's a question for you. How many deals once you sign the LOI? Because that's like, are you working out, the earnouts before they sign the LOI?
Yes.
Reps and warranties before they sign the LOI? Is it a cash payment? What's going in the escrow? What's being indemnified? Are you working all those things out before LOI? Because the majority of people did not work this stuff out.
Oh my God.
My first two LOIs,
Lance,
I did not work it out before I signed it.
Lance, I'm going to tell you a secret, okay? That the sellers should know and the buyers shouldn't be listening to this. But here's the thing. The biggest leverage that a seller has is right before you sign the LOI. Because that's when you are going back to our previous girl in the room. That's when you have the best options. Okay, you have 3 or 4 offers. You're looking at the offers. You're negotiating with each one of them, and now the buyers want to sign that LOI, and you're saying, "Hey, wait a minute! I have all these options. If I sign the LOI, now I'm going to be stuck with you because I have an exclusivity agreement with you after the LOI." So my negotiations should be done before we sign the LOI and make sure we keep we take care of every single aspect of the deal before we sign that LOI. Because once you sign the LOI, your leverage, which was high right before signing it, goes to the basement because now the buyer is the one who has the control over the deal. They have an exclusivity on you, and you can't just go back and talk with somebody else or shop your business around again until you either decide to stop the deal or close the deal.
Well, even if you do stop the deal, they have to let you add the LOI to go shop it, or that you have to wait for it to expire. Most people don't know that, and it works both ways. Well, they kill the LOI, they're not buying it, right? So it don't make a difference. But for you to kill the deal, even when I sent that over for months, killing the $36 million deal, like I gave them the exact date it expired because once we went past the close date, it was like maybe a week or 10 days out, whatever it was. I knew it expired, so we just put it right in there as of this date. I went out early, but if not, no big deal.
Yeah.
But this is the thing people don't realize about LOIs, I think, more than anything is so I'll give you an example here, right? When we went and I sold one of my companies, they wanted me to sign a nationwide non-compete. And I just started laughing, right? Because I owned multiple roofing companies. And I was like, this is how I make my living. I'm like an incubator. I'm the minors to the majors. Like, this is what I do for a living. I partner with roofing companies. I scale them. I give them between $2 and $5 million in EBITDA. Then I sell them to guys like you.
Yeah.
Why, when you only have 3 roofing companies at this time, would I sign a nationwide non-compete? And his whole thing was, well, we have one here in whatever it was, Arkansas. What happens if you're 45 minutes down the road and you come and partner with someone? And I'm like, are you crazy? Like, do you think you're going to sideline me for 36 million? I only get half of the 36 million, full transparency, right? I only own 50% of all my companies. So I get $18 million to try. Do you think I'm going to retire for $18 million from you? And we didn't go with that one. And the thing was, we picked someone that understood that and gave us a radius just around their few businesses. I get you don't want me coming into your backyard if you're going to give me $36 million, right? So, but you got to also be reasonable of where you're handcuffing us to, correct? Like, but can you talk about that? You better understand really what you're signing, because once you sign it, you are held to it, and they're giving you a lot of money, and people are like, well, it costs money to sue. For these guys, it doesn't cost anything to sue because it's not their money. They're managing someone else's money. So it's just business for them. For you, it's your money when you're paying attorneys. Can you talk about that?
Yes, and it's your money, it's your business, it's your legacy, it's what you built. I mean, you are much more invested than the buyer on your business. So you want to have a good team to work with you. I am a broker, or if you want to say it, M&A advisor, but I'm not a lawyer. But I do work with M&A lawyers, and I work with M&A accountants. So I have a team, and it's not the same lawyer that you use for anything else. It's got to be a lawyer that knows about M&A. So they know the reps and warranties. They know where the landmines are. They know what they mean in the fine print. I mean, your asset purchase agreement, APA, is going to be probably a couple of 100 pages long, and you're not going to understand half of it. So trying to do this thing,
if you know 90% of it, I'd be impressed. And then upload the ChatGPT if you want, and then try reading that spit out and let me know how it works out.
No, ChatGPT is great, but don't rely on that for your legacy. I mean, no, you need and it's not only that, it's how do you negotiate, right? Even if you put it on ChatGPT, and even if it tells you what's wrong or what's right, how do you negotiate? The lawyers that I work with are great because they're people that are deal oriented. They want to close the deal. They're not going to come up with bullshit just to charge a couple of $100 more. They're going to try to close the deal, but at the same time, they're going to protect you from all the shenanigans that a buyer could put in that asset purchase.
Nothing kills more deals than red line on paper.
And I say
that both ways. Red lines on paper. There's 3 things. These are the 3 biggest things. You tell me if I'm wrong here, Claudio. Here's the 3 biggest things that kills deals. Number 1, time. The longer it takes to close, because people's anxiety, right? Number 2, I go retrade you. I start retrading the numbers. I start saying, hey, listen, well, you can only retrade up to a little bit before someone says, no, what? Fuck you. I'm out. Like, I'm not selling. It's not worth it. And then number 3, lawyers. Lawyers kills deals because of their egos. I've never met a group of people more arrogant, more obnoxious, more disgusting than lawyers. Honestly, I hate to say it. Like them and doctors. Like their egos are through the roof. They can never like we have in-house counsel now because of our lawyers. Like, and the thing about this, no matter how much these lawyers cost, they always leave you fucking exposed somehow.
Yes.
Like because the documents are so long. So that's why you got to know who you're doing business with and the character of the organization. Because like you said, it's hundreds of pages, these agreements that you're going through.
Yeah.
And the lawyers don't find everything, right?
No.
And you're paying for average every time we've sold a company in legal fees, we probably averaged $100,000 in legal fees, and we've still been exposed.
Yes.
Can you explain that? Like you got to use the lawyers, and you're going to pay that kind of money, but realistically, you're still exposed. So you better know who you're selling to.
Yeah, well, you better, again, great point. You better know who you're selling to. That's your best bet. That's your best safeguard, if you will, that the guy that's buying you, the company that's buying you, actually cares for your business. They want to make it grow. Not only they want to make it grow, they know how to make it grow, and they know how to get you to the next level. So knowing who your buyer is very important. And you didn't talk much about accountants, but the accounting actually really kills a lot of deals too. When you go to the quality of earnings and the numbers start not matching, that's where you have a lot of deals.
Before we ever go, our quality of earnings is already done. So we hired, we have an in-house CPA. We have an in-house CPA, but we don't even let that person do our CPA came from Ernest Young. Think about that. And we still don't let her do it with my team. We hire a third party to do quality of earnings before the broker, the M&A guys even do it. Makes sense? So we go through quality of earnings. All right, I'll just tell you, and I don't know if this is the best process, but it's been a great process for us to have a great outcome. And you tell me if I'm wrong or what we can do better, because I'm always trying to learn. Is we go through quality of earnings. Then Nick from Woodrow Park, who's been a good relationship with us, he packages up, puts the story together, and he sends it out, email blast, text, all that. Then our quality of earnings is done. They know it's a certified accountant. Well, and this is what people don't understand is no one's giving you certified financials and lying, unless they're just complete idiots, because the whole business is going after that, right? So there can be some discrepancies, but it's only going to be so much. So I think that's why we've never had an LOI fall out, where most do fall out because of the financials. If you like to talk about, are we doing the process correctly to you in your eyes, Claudio?
No, you're absolutely. Not only you're doing the process correctly, I'm going to record this, and every time I have a meeting with one of my sellers, I'm going to show him exactly what you're saying, because they think that I'm BSing them when I tell them, guys, you have to have your sell side quality of earnings. You can't just rely on the buy side, because the buy side is going to come and is going to come up. You know, that's what they use to lower and retrade you. If you're not ready for that, you're screwed. I mean, you can only say yes or no. You don't have, and I'm not an accountant. You need to your point. Even if I was an accountant, I wouldn't do it unless I was experienced in doing quality of earnings, experienced in a M&A situation, which of course I introduce my buyers to. My sellers to several accountants that I know, and I say work with them and get your ducks in a row, because when we get to the point of quality of earnings, I can guarantee you the buyer's going to find things. And if you don't know how to react to them, if you don't know how to rebut them, well, you're going to be screwed. And it's going to be at the end of the deal when you're tired, when you just want to get out of it, and they're going to lower your price, and we don't have a way to negotiate that.
Claudio,
agree,
can
100%.
I tell you why? Because can I tell you why the majority of people don't want to hire the quality of earnings people as sellers?
Why?
Because the average quality of earnings, as you know, is for someone for $2 million in EBITDA to $7 million is going to be somewhere between, on the low end, 30, 40,000, high end, 80 to 100,000. And they see that bill. And instead of it as an investment to them, they really get a meaningful outcome. They look at it as, do I really got to do this? Numbers are numbers. These guys are going to do the numbers. And what you just said is, when you don't tell the story with your numbers and someone else is telling the story with numbers, you can do a lot with numbers and a data and make it look a certain way. And the thing is, they're going to question your numbers no matter what. You know this, Claudio. Like that,
of course,
they woodpecker every number. They woodpecker. You listen. Right now, we got 2 feet of fucking snow out here, right in Pennsylvania. We do, right, for months. For 2 months now, we've had literally just snow. It's been terrible, and they'll ask us why it's slow. Like, did you not have a weather report? Are you like, did you not do a quick weather check here before we took this meeting? Well, but on this day it was 45. Yeah, we still had 2 feet of snow on the roofs, right? Like, what do you think? Like, but like, and that's the shit they ask. You know that, like, they would care so much about. But why did this company go? Why did this month go back $100,000 compared to the month before? But then it jumped back up. Did something special happen here? I don't know. What do you mean? Like, just maybe our sales numbers weren't as good. Maybe our close rate wasn't as good. Maybe it wasn't a lead situation. But you better be able to have those numbers ahead of time so you could talk about them. Because when they come to you with the numbers, which they will do, they ask questions, and it's always this. And tell me how many times you heard this. Oh, just one more thing. Oh, just one more thing. How many times you heard that, Claudio? Oh, just one more thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, when I sign a listing agreement, the first thing I do is I send them a list of questions that they're going to get when they go through quality of earnings and due diligence, just so they're prepared. Okay. And they call me back and says, Claudio, they're asking me all these questions. I said, that's the average. They're going to ask a lot more than this. But you start getting ready to it, because when you get those questions, the thing is, if you answer the questions right away, the deal's going to close a lot faster. And guess what?
100%.
You just said it before. Time kills all deals. And the worst time is between the LOI and the APA. Because that time, first of all, you are, like we said before, you're handcuffed to your buyer, but also you are spending money, because that's when your accountant is going to be there. That's when your attorney is going to be there. So you want to make sure, and that's the riskiest time of the whole process. You want to minimize that. So to minimize that, you have to have your own answers already. Make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, all your documents in a row, and all your answers to the questions that they're going to ask.
Let's talk about that time from LOI to APA. They're going to try and get you for 90 to 120 days. That's just natural, right?
Yes.
You really want to make sure it's about 45 to a 60-day window. And this is, and tell me if I'm wrong, I always ask this question how fast can you close and when would you like to close? Right?
Exactly.
Because because if they say 90 to 120 days, I'm going to say, well, you already have quality of earnings here, right? As soon as you come see my organization, you either know, they know it's inside of 5-10 minutes once they walk into the organization if they're buying or not. You and I both know that. Like, as soon as they see the culture, what's happening, the leadership team, the vibe, they know, right? Am I right with the 45 to 60 days so it doesn't get dragged out? Because they'll drag you out to the last day. They don't care.
They
once you're under
drag
LOI.
you out until the last day. The last 2 days before closing, they're going to come up with something from the left field. And yes, you want to make sure that you do it 45 to 60, and also put some milestones. Okay, so we're going to, at day 10, we need this. At day 15, we need this. At day 20 or whatever. And if the milestones don't, if you don't meet the milestones as a buyer, you know, that you're going to get this done, then we have the right to, step away or to kill the deal, because you want to be in control of that. You don't want them to come the day 59 before you're closing and come up with something of the left field.
Here's a question for you. Last question for you. I appreciate all your time. I know I've been just peppering you with questions, but I enjoyed the conversation here. Obviously, the name of the podcast is Build to Sell It, so you're one of my favorite guests. Here's a question for you. Do you like earnouts or not? How do you feel about earnouts?
Personally, I don't like them.
Okay, tell me why. I'm all about it. I'm not a big fan of earnouts either. I'll tell you why after you.
Okay.
Answer. I don't want to cut you off.
It all depends. It all depends on how you structure them. But if you're going to have an earnout, I would rather have rollbacks, because a rollback, you're going to be on the upside and on the downside. But earnouts are typically 1 year or 2 years after you sell the business. If you don't meet them, you don't get anything. If I'm going to have an earnout, I would rather have it on the revenues than on the EBITDA, because EBITDA can be very well manipulated.
Well, you don't control the EBITDA. You don't control what they invest in, who they hire, what they do. You don't control CapEx spend. You don't control any of those things. So my thing is I've been paid, believe it or not, my earnout from every company but one. And I think you know which one didn't pay me, the good old fashioned search fund. That's the only person I've been, and I actually hit my earnout. This is the craziest part, but his management fees and the Live Oak Bank fees to Gap Insurance, which I started laughing. I said, this guy got me. Like I sued him. It's public, right? And we came to an agreement, but the point being is he used his management fees and Live Oak Bank to beat me out of my earnout.
Lower. Well, that's why you don't like earnouts that much.
We blew the earnout away if it wasn't for that. We blew the earnout away. But of course, and the best part was I had to sue him just to get the financials. He wouldn't even hand me the financials. I'm like, dude, just give me the financials. I'm a big boy. I know what I signed. I'm 50 years of age. Like you know this. Like, do I look like a guy that's going to scream and cry if something doesn't go his way, Claudio? Do I remind you of that kind of guy? Like, I'm like, all right, whatever, man. I'm moving on to the next thing. There's just too much. You can make money too easily here in America. I'm not fighting over $3-4 million if that's what I signed. Makes sense? Like, I'm a big boy. Yeah. But what I will do is when you don't show me the numbers, I'm going to come, right? And literally about 6 months later, I got the certified financials finally. And it was exactly what, and that's why he didn't want to get the numbers over, It was his management fee and Live Oak Bank. And we knew it because I knew there was no possible way with the way the company was growing and the height of the company, we couldn't have hit the EBITDA number because it was just too easy. Now, I'll never do it again because you have control, like you said, to manipulate things. He was a bad actor in this business. He's a man of bad character. I don't like to put people on blast, but you should never sell to a search fund. But, here, the private equity guys won't do that because they'll never ruin their reputations because, A, they got to raise money, number one. Yeah. So when you have a bad reputation, no one's giving you money. And number two, there's communities, there's real small community here of, and these search funds, what they do, they'll own one doctor business, then they'll own one roofing business, then they'll own one little, whatever. It's all just bullshit. And the best part is what people don't understand about search funds. There was 32 people on my cap table, Claudio, 32. 32 people, right?
They got a little bit of each.
The guy that was the managing partner, the guy that I think he put $200,000 into the whole entire deal, $200,000 into the whole deal. He made his money back in management fees in the first 6 months of the deal.
Wow.
So he had nothing to lose. He didn't care. Make sense? Oh, he was printing money on management fees, right? And that's what people don't understand. You really got to look at the whole deal. And I'm not a fan of earnouts. I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm never a guy that's going to cry over spilled milk. He was playing checkers, like I tell people, or chess. And at that time in my life, 4 years ago, I wasn't probably even playing a board game. Realistically, I was trying to figure it out. But you learn your best lessons by going through them, or you have be part of a coach. I wish I'm part of a coaching group now. I have my own coaching group now. It's been great because I've learned so much from mentors and talking. And once you sell 6 companies, you really start to understand the landscape of how it's done.
Yes.
Makes sense? Yes.
But
I'm glad you're not a big fan of earnouts. And if I was ever going to do an earnout again, it would be tied to just straight revenue.
Exactly.
And what people don't understand is I don't even control GP. And people are like, what do you mean you don't control GP? Because I don't get to control the pricing of what I'm buying things for. I don't get to control what I'm selling it for. So really the only thing I can do is help you get sales. It's your job to control, because once you sell, even if you're a GM or this and that, they're going to tell you how to handle things and do things.
Exactly. So I agree with you on the earnouts. What I think is the best way to do some kind of financing is to either, basically just to roll over some money, because even sales, when you have the sell side financing, so when you have seller financing or notes, it sounds more secure. It sounds less risky, but it's really not, because you're still guaranteeing that seller note. So your business is typically the guarantee of that seller note. So if the business goes under, if the buyer actually destroys the business, you're not going to get money anyway. So you're always capping your top side, but you're not capping your bottom line. So rolling over money, the way I see it, is the best way.
Me too. Claudio, how do people get a hold of you if they want to hear you? Hold on, I'm going to give you a big line, baby, because you earned it today. You earned it, my man. You earned it. You came with some knowledge today. Go ahead. So tell people how to get a hold of you, my friend.
954-774-4141. My cell phone is always open. My website is theroofingbizbroker.com. Very easy. And my email is claudio.vilas@theroofingbizbroker.com. And I'm in most of the industry meetings, and I'm everywhere. So, or you can follow me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, whatever.
Follow this man. He dropped a lot of knowledge for you guys today. Sorry for taking up so much of your time. And it's supposed to last 30, 40 minutes. I appreciate all the extra time. I enjoyed it.
I love it. I think it was great. I had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon. If you're serious about growing your home service business, listen up. Everything we do at Build It to Sell It is built around one mission: helping contractors scale real companies that are actually worth selling one day. Through our masterminds, shop tours, winner's circle, sales training, and the Build It to Sell It conference, we bring owners together to share what's actually working in the field right now. If you want better systems, stronger leadership, and a business that gives you real options one day, click the link in the show notes and get plugged in. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. I want to give a quick shout out to our main sponsor, Service Titan, our technology of choice for helping us scale and grow our business and making sure all of our viewers have the technology to scale their business, so when they want to sell it, they're able to.